Good morning, everyone, and happy birthday to me. It is Thursday, November the 6th. 6:35 a.m. is the time. The temperature is a very cold 3 degrees Celsius, and that was Queens Station. Queens Station, it is early. Queens Park Station I just walked out of. And there's a look at the Provincial Legislative Assembly. That's kind of the Canadian version of a U.S. state capitol building, if you're American and wondering what the heck that is. And I don't think they actually start doing work there until 9 a.m. That's when the weekday sessions begin. And just south of College Street here is University Avenue. So what I'll be doing is walking south down into the financial district. And just getting a little pre-sunrise walk-in. Sunrise is actually supposed to be around 7 a.m. according to my trusty Gemini assistant. This is College Street. There's a look south down University on the north side of College here. This is known as Queens Park. Someone's laying on the horn at this early ass hour. There's certainly a neat looking sky at this time. There seems to be a lot of people out going for a run. And this stretch of University is known as Hospital Row. Just up there on the left is the Toronto General Hospital. And beyond that is Sick Kids, and over on the other side of the street is Mount Sinai and Princess Margaret. They're all quite renowned facilities. There's the morning crowd going into the Starbucks. Toronto General dates back to 1829, which makes it just short of 200 years old. The Hospital for Sick Kids goes back to 1875. Princess Margaret 1952 and Mount Sinai 1923. According to Newsweek, Toronto General was ranked the third best hospital worldwide. Sick Kids is generally one or first or second in pediatric ratings. Princess Margaret's considered a top 10 oncology hospital worldwide. And Mount Sinai is the third highest ranked hospital in Canada, 32nd in the world. There's the Peter Munk Cardiac Center. A lot of hospital work is, of course, shift work. So people will be going to and from work all throughout the day. We've got these nice wide protected bike lanes on University that the Premier is trying so hard to get rid of. That is Princess Margaret. Carry the fire, fight world, or for world free from the fear of cancer. I better not block that car from turning There's Mount Sinai. The first pilot for these separated bike lanes was in 2021 during the pandemic. And despite being not at all controversial and very well received, the Premier has targeted them for removal, which is ridiculous because nobody elects a Premier to deal with municipal bike lanes. Is the western terminus of Gerrard Street that carries across the rest of downtown to the east over into Riverdale and through Leslieville, pretty much all the way to Scarborough. On my way down, I recorded an early morning subway video checking out Eglinton, Blurion, St. George, and Queen's Park stations. I'm gonna get up this early. I might as well get a few videos out of it. This is Elm Street. There's that mural of Terry Fox. I think that went in last year. This area is referred to as the Discovery District. I guess that sounded better than Hospital District. This is the old McLean's building on the left, which is being gutted and having a new building emerge from within it. That was an older office building that was reclad, and they added a bunch of stories to it. I think they built it up to 42 stories. Things I've looked up in the past and I'm struggling to remember for this one. They've been working on this for a long time. think this one on the left might be part of the Center for Mental Health and Addiction, CAMH. If I'm not mistaken, let me know down in the comments if that's incorrect. Made it one stop south through St. Patrick. And look how much lighter the sky is. Always love this view here. Oop. This is Dundas Street. Dundas Square and Eaton Center are off in that direction. I'm thinking maybe I want to cross over. Yeah, let's stay on this side. I was thinking I'm always walking on this side when I go south, but part of that is because of this view. There's another Starbucks. The city just waking up. There's Canada Life building. It's got a weather beacon on top that is turned off. It doesn't seem to be doing anything. Normally, there would be lights running up or down it. Going up if it's getting warmer and heading down if it's getting colder. And they would be color coded. If it was green, that means it would be clear. I'm trying to remember. Orange would mean cloudy. Flashing orange is rain and flashing white is snow. That's the Toronto Courthouse branch of the Ontario Superior Court of Justice, and just beyond that, let's cross here. I didn't know there wasn't a crossing on the south side, but we'll have to press the beg button. I guess I could have just gone for it like that person over there. Yeah, I wonder what the deal is with the weather vane. Why that's not turned on. That person's trying to cross the street again. I just standing there in the middle of traffic. What happens if a car wants to turn right and they're just chilling in the right turn lane? Not smart. I guess that's what happens. University Avenue originally ended just south of here at Queen, but it was extended down a front in the 1930s. And there's the U.S. Consulate. And I think I was wrong. I think on the McLean building there, it's coming back to me. I'm pretty sure that's going to be a condo over 50 stories high. There's already a bunch of comments talking about how I was wrong on that one, probably. There's the U.S. Consulate. And this dates back to 1986. I don't know where the consulate was before then. It's not an embassy, as that would be in Ottawa. Toronto's the capital of Ontario, but not of the country. Every once in a while there's protests and that sort of thing in front of this building. There's probably someone watching me on a surveillance camera. There's the financial district where I am heading. And the Canada Life building. One of the most distinct buildings on University, the Whitney block north of where I started. Might give it a run. And at Queen Anne University up ahead is Osgoode Station, and that is being expanded to add a platform for the Ontario line. They've had to take up quite a large chunk of the corner of Osgoode Hall. These red plaques here are historic sites and monuments for all of Canada. There's provincial ones and city ones. That would be a federally provided or recognized historical plaque. And here we are at Queen. Maybe I'll cross back over. There's the Four Seasons Center for the Performing Arts. A little sneak peek. I'm not inside, but it's neat to get a look. And because there's a subway line underneath, soon to be two, this building, I think, has some kind of rubber bushings in its foundation to prevent the vibrations from the subway from interfering. Can't be sitting there vibrating in your seat trying to listen to the opera, I guess. That opened on a shoestring budget back in 2006. I think it was a case of, do you want a new performing arts center, or do you want something whose architecture is going to cost an arm and a leg? Often you'll see public projects like this end up being quite extravagant, looking like the Guggenheim or what the ROM looks like, or the Art Gallery of Ontario, but they opted for practical functionality, and I think it still looks quite good. Never actually been in there. There's Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. Speaking of steak, I usually go to a nice steak restaurant on my birthday, but it won't be that one. And that is the Brutalist Hilton. It opened up, I think, in the 1970s, around 1975. And across the street, the much more modern Shangri-La. I remember when that one opened. That was 2012. I was still in Korea at the time, but I was always following high-rises and new developments in the city from there. Across Richmond Street. I've actually only ever been to Ruth's Chris a few times, and that was the location by the airport, if that's still there. Kind of remarkable how quiet the streets are. Well, with it only being 3 degrees, I think it's going to get up to 8, but it's certainly getting colder. There will be less people at the surface level and more people in the giant underground path network, which is underneath the financial district, connecting many of these office towers and several area subway stations to one another. Sign there in that Cafe Landwehr says 3 degrees Celsius, 37 Fahrenheit. And this is actually my first time wearing the winter gear. At least this is what I wear in the winter. It doesn't matter how cold it is. I just layer up, but this is the coat I wear, and this is my first time all season wearing it. I've worn it since probably March or April. If I could, I would have maybe wanted to start this walk about 15 minutes earlier. As we get to King Street. That way would have been a little bit darker for more of the walk, but at least I caught most of the full extent of the sunrise, getting lighter as a 504 King making its way to Dundas Station rolls on through. This is a designated transit priority corridor, so at most of these intersections you can't go straight through. And finally, they've added some LED signs indicating such. Before, those were the only signs, and you can see how that would be confusing for drivers who aren't used to the area. I think there's no excuse. Those LED signs, the city has really kind of dropped the ball with the design of King Street. It's still in a very temporary kind of state from when they first launched the pilot project. When I used to work in the financial district, my typical workday started at 9. I'd usually leave around 4:30. Or I could get there earlier if I wanted. I didn't really have a fixed start and finish time. But it is estimated, I think, around 250,000 people or so commute into the financial district to work each day. Financial district being on the left and the entertainment district being over on the right. So here's where University Avenue ends, and it merges with York Street, which heads down to Queens Quay, right by Lake Ontario. That part's on the left. And coming up on the left is the Royal York Hotel. And that opened in 1929 as the tallest building in the British Commonwealth. I think right now rooms are going from somewhere between $400 to $600 a night. It can get a lot more expensive than that depending on what's going on. And there's Union Station. And that iteration of it, I think, is 98 years old. That's the busiest transportation hub in all of Canada, serving over 300,000 people a day via GO trains, as well as there's a bus terminal, there's the Up Express, Airport Express train, line 1 of the subway, there's a few streetcar lines that connect through there. Seems to be some construction going on in front of Union. I guess you'd call much of this still the pre-morning rush hour. RBC Towers. There's the tallest building, or what will be the tallest building in the country, rising up in the center of the shot there. This is going to be interesting. I'm going to go back home. It's going to be not even 8 a.m. I usually wake up at 9 to premiere a video, so I think I'm going to get a little over an hour of extra time in bed. Then I'll probably watch my premiere and go back to bed. I am planning on live streaming tonight. View of the tower. Yeah, I had thoughts of going up to King Station. But I think at some point I'll do either another one of these sunrise videos in the financial district or a morning rush hour video that'll cover Bay Street here as that Lexus driver gets honked at. So I'm just going to head over into Union Station. I'll wrap this one up right in front of the station. I mentioned I usually go to a steak restaurant on my birthday. Well, that'll be Saturday. But one of the candidates is this one here. Blue bovine. This seems like a good place to end this one. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know your thoughts and comments down below. If you wish to support what I do, there's links to my Patreon and YouTube channel membership down in the description. I've got an Instagram account at Johnny Strides, and there is a super thanks button appearing down below if you wish to say thanks that way. Anywho, once again, happy birthday to me. Thank you so much to everyone in advance for your birthday wishes. I already see a bunch in the comments. Awkward, just a guy talking to himself as someone walks by. But anyways, thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you in the next one. Yoink.